What's going on, everybody? If you're new to the channel, my name is Jackson Cooper, aka J Coop, and by the title of this video, you know I have no friends.
It was always me versus me.
Now, this isn't a bad or a good subject, it's just a real life subject, and we're gonna talk from the heart on this one, all right? I'm gonna try to look at some notes on my phone, but I'm gonna also go off the top of the dome with this because this is real life, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only person in the world who literally has no friends. This isn't clickbait. This isn't me. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm gonna go hang out and party with people. I literally don't talk to anyone. Well, we're gonna get into that, but I don't really express myself to people. And that's what you do with friends, you know what I mean? So we're gonna get into that, but let's get into the definition of a friend. What is a friend? A person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations. That's a good definition. So as far as that, I don't have friends. Now, I do talk to females for the most part, but that's going against what a friend is. But let's rewind this, all right? So I'm 36 years old. Currently, I have no friends, but it hasn't always been that way. When I was in elementary school, it was beautiful. You know, it was, I had a world view of friends because I went to a alternative elementary school. And I have friends from Malaysia, from here in America, from Lithuania, all over, man. It was a beautiful thing, and those elementary school years, those mold you into who you are. You know what I mean? So it was a good time. It was a good time. I had white friends, black friends. It didn't matter, right? But you have to understand that when you're younger, you're gonna have those friends because that's when life is more simple. You don't really you're not too rigid into your own thoughts. You may do things that other people want to do. So transferring over, we go into middle school, right? So middle school, I have less friends, but I still have friends though. People that I still actually talk to this day, but they're not my friends. We just, we might catch up or just talk on Instagram or something like that. But middle school, that's when I kind of was forming into who I was gonna be. I think that around those ages, you are who you are, but you're still gonna develop, if that makes sense. So, I had people that I dealt with, they were friends. We used to hang out, go to the movies, stuff like that. And those were good times, man. Those are times that you should actually cherish, is that those times when you do, quote unquote, have friends and that you guys are doing stuff, you know what I mean? So I had those friends, and we're gonna just, skip through middle school, then we're gonna get into high school. Now, high school is tricky, all right? Because high school is really, I feel when you really are becoming who you are gonna be. High school was that point where it's okay, yeah. So let's rewind back. I'm the only child. I have an older brother, he was adopted. He didn't come around till I was he was given up for adoption. And he didn't come back around till I was 21. By then I was already grown, so that doesn't count. Then I have another older brother who's almost 20 years older than me. So technically I was the only child. Why do I say this? Being the only child, there is a such thing as only child syndrome. I didn't know this. I just thought I was just selfish. Me and my dad laugh about this stuff because I tell my dad, I'm Dad, I only care about me. And it's not like a phenomenon thing. People that are only children tend to only care about themselves. It's just the reality of things. Now, it's not that I want to put other people down, but my main focus and my main concern is on myself, right? And having friends, having that type of personality doesn't mesh. And we're going to get into that more and more throughout why I don't have friends at age 36. So me being the only child and going into high school, I'm starting to see I have friends, we do stuff, but that's when heads start to collide a little bit. People are I'm not saying yes to everything, and oh yeah, Jackson, you want to go to the football game, and do you want to do this? I'm we can go, but I won't leave at a certain time, bro. Now, people may think oh, Jackson, you're acting funny by doing that. I don't call it acting funny. I just call it me moving on my own accord. You know, I'm like the Honda car, man. Like I really move on my own accord. I don't like to be on someone else's time. I don't like to be rushed. I don't like to be impeded on in any way at all. You know what I mean? So that's the way that I look at it. Now, going throughout high school, you tend to lose friends, right? Like you tend to like fall out because people do their own thing. People go and, you know, follow their own path, because high school is like that next step into the real world, into real life. All right. So let's just say that we finished high school up. Now we're into adulthood. Now adulthood was when it was lit. Like I had two people that I was hanging out with heavy. I don't want to say their names because like that really doesn't matter, but you guys know who you are, like if you see this video. And we were kicking it heavy, man. We were doing everything, man. Traveling, going to clubs, going to parties. We used to go to this place called the Arena District. And it was lit, but you gotta remember, I was always me. I've always been me. I can't help but be me. So throughout those times, we would be at clubs and I would up and leave without saying anything. I didn't feel like I had to check in with nobody. They was like, hey, Jackson, man, like you just left the club and didn't tell nobody. I was looking around like, I don't gotta tell you nothing. And let me be completely honest, like I would say stuff like, I don't know you. Now, like I was joking because like I knew them, but I was, that's just the way that it is, bro. Like I'm not about to sit around and wait for people to drink and smell like liquor and stink and smell like beer. And I don't like do all of that. So that was a tipping point too when I was like, this like going out and being friends and all that, like, it was kind of, you know, looking a certain way. And then also too, you have to kind of cut people off who aren't on the same page as you. As far as like, I had a friend, actually like a couple people, who would smoke Black and Milds and I don't smoke. So I was looking at them and I was like, listen, man, if you keep smoking Black and Milds around me, I'm not gonna be around you no more, bro. And they thought I was playing. They were like, oh no, man, it's cool, man. I was like, dude, you have my clothes smelling funny. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so we have nothing in common, right? Typically when you have nothing in common with somebody, that's gonna come to a head, right? Because you're gonna bump heads. So I lost like a bunch of people with that, just like really moving on my own pace saying, excuse me, if you're gonna smoke around me, it's a helicopter going over me. If you're gonna continue to do things around me that I don't wanna do, then I'm just not gonna talk to you no more. And I've been told, you know, Jackson, that's fake, bro, that's not cool. You gotta be cool with people. And we're gonna get more into that. We're gonna get into the pros and the cons of not having friends and having friends, because there are pros and there are cons. But let's jump back into the party and stuff, right? So those were great times in my life. Like I'm really not gonna lie, but I would also notice that I would tend to leave places and not tell people. Like I used to do it all the time because I don't feel like I have to check in with anybody. Like for instance, we used to go to this place called Brothers and get wings. And there was a little tender thing that hit me up, and everybody was laughing and hee and giggling and ha ha. And I got that text message saying I'm about to come over, and I looked around, people laughing. I was like, I don't got time to say nothing to you. I left. I had to get going like T. Owens, you dig? Like I couldn't sit around and wait, because the girl might have changed her mind. Now she didn't, luckily for her. And we handled it like that, but that tended to add strain in situations, you know what I mean? So let's get into this time when I told my few friends around that time. I was like, guys, this isn't going to be happening like this in a couple of years. Like once we hit about 30, things are about to start veering off. They were like, yeah, whatever, man, it's going to be this. And to this day, like it was around 30 when I really started traveling, I think around then. And like, that was when people would try to like set up travels. Like you would try to set up traveling with somebody else, but if they don't want to go there, then you had to do all that. I don't get into all of that. That's why you don't never see me, if you're on my channel, you don't never see me travel with people. I like to move on my own accord. I don't like to wait on people. I don't like to be rushed. Like if I'm like repeating myself, it is what it is, because these are things when you don't have friends that play like a big factor into that. I think that when you have friends, you tend to be more like, oh, like I'll like wait for you and I'll do this. I don't have that in me, you know? I feel like I'm a very smart guy. I feel like I know how to handle myself correctly, but it's like one word that I just don't know how to just say a lot. Share. Yeah, that's one word that like I tell my dad about it, and like we laugh because like he knows me, like he like accepts me. He says, Jay, you are who you are. I'm like, I know. Like I would take, when I was eating stuff like this, like me and some people would go to Little Caesars and I would take a pizza to the face. Like if they didn't have no pizza, I'd say, hey man, go in there and ask for a slice, because I'm gonna take this to the face by myself. I was the only child, man. Like how can you knock me being the only child? It is what it is. Like this is who I am. So sharing is not caring in my book. Now, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't, help out the unfortunate, because like I have done that, but just sharing like my stuff, that's not what I do. It's just not something that I do. And I feel like having friends, sharing is something that it's kind of a prerequisite. So I'm already out on that one. So let's like look at the notes. So pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. The pros are I can move on my own accord. I don't have to wait on nobody. I don't have to care about nobody else's feelings for the most part. It's just about me, myself, and I. That's the truth, and I'm sticking to that. Another pro would be I can maneuver. So, for instance, I was just in Morocco, right? And the trip kind of got derailed because there was an earthquake. So imagine if I was with somebody else and they were like, hey, like I want to go do this and that. I would have been like, dang, I got to do this. I was by myself, so I can move and depart whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to wait on nobody. And that's a major thing. That's a legendary thing, I feel like, when you don't have friends. I mean, like it's the truth. And let's give a third pro. I'm going off the top like a toupee with this one. A third pro I would say is you're not going to let anyone down for the most part. You are not going to be letting someone down when you don't have friends. When you have friends, man, there's a tendency when you can let people down. People are counting on you. Right now, other than family, nobody's counting on me because I have no friends. I haven't made any obligations to anybody. I haven't made any promises to anybody. So, yeah, those are the pros, I feel like. Now, the cons of not having friends. The cons are going to be you're going to keep things to yourself a lot. And that's not a good thing, because you can harbor stuff and it can change you. I can admit that I am a jaded individual. Also, you're gonna be in isolation a lot. Now, me being the only child, I'm like used to being isolated, but I'm isolated even when I'm around other people. I can like feel myself, like I have like, and like people that know me are like looking at this like Jackson's not lying. Like I can literally build like a force field around me. It doesn't matter like if I'm like the best looking dude, the best whatever, it still kind of rubs people the wrong way. You see what I'm saying? And I don't really mean to do it, but it's just who I am. Like if I don't want to be bothered, like I don't have to say a word. Like I literally can put up a force field around myself and I cannot be bothered if I don't want to be. So that's not a good thing though, because I feel as humans should have human contact, and being isolated, yeah. So, and I would say the third con is just losing people that you did care about. I've lost friends simply off of me being an a-hole, man. I can be completely honest. I've been an a-hole to some people, but I look at it both ways, right? Because there's two sides to a mirror. You're looking into it and your reflection's looking back at you. I had a reason to be an a-hole. Now, maybe not as much as an a-hole as I was, but I had a reason for being one in the first place, if that makes sense, right? So I'm just looking at it like, in life, you live and you learn, guys. But at 36 years old, I can honestly say that I have 0 friends. And if you look at my Instagram, you don't see people on there. I don't follow a lot of people. It's just, look, I feel like the more people you have in your life, the more headaches. The less people you have in your life, the smoother things will go. I wish that I felt this way at 18 because things would have been different for me. All right, so like if you're like a younger person, learn to minimize the people that you have in your life, but keep the good people, of course, but minimize all of the extra stuff. You don't need that. You don't need that. Trust me. And right now, I'm just waiting to get off of a sentence. You know, I got 2 years and some change on one sentence and 7 years and some change on another one. So if you know, you know, connect the dots. Now, one thing about not having friends, you gotta have thick skin. This is not for everybody. You are gonna be alone. That doesn't mean you're gonna be lonely, but you're gonna be alone. All right, so you're gonna have to get used to that. And like I said, even when you're around people, you know, like my attitude is that of, how would I describe myself? I like to be seen when I like to be seen, if that makes sense. I don't just go out all the time and do all of that. Like, I like my alone time. And that comes with not having friends. I feel like when you have friends, people want to go out, people want to do stuff. I don't want to do that all the time. I just don't. So that goes against having friends. But like I said, guys, if you want to go down that path of not having friends, it's not for everybody, and you got to have thick skin. Only the strong survive. Believe that. Now, you should have friends though. See, that's the thing, because people are literally everything in this world. Like, who you know matters. Now, they really don't have to be your friend though. They could just be associates. Associates are good to have, but if you have a friend who has things popping, I feel like that's better than an associate because they're gonna really look out for you. So if you do have a friend who's getting things done, or if you can be a friend to somebody who you know has a certain skill or something and you could put them in a position, make that happen, man. Don't mess up your network not having friends, because that can happen too, man. You can like mess up some good opportunities not having friends. But like I said, you gotta have the right friends. It can't just be anybody, man. That's just the way that is. Always, always follow your own path. See, this is a journey, man. Life is a journey, right? You know, there's gonna be rough patches. There's gonna be sunny days, it's gonna be rainy days. It's all about, can you weather the storm? And you know, the thing about it is when you're alone, you know, look at the eagle, man. The eagle flies alone, and like the eagle, that's a very prestigious animal. The reason why the eagle is prestigious to me, besides what everybody else knows, the eagle flies alone, but it flies at a very high altitude, right? So therefore, nobody else can really be around it. And I feel like if you really want to ascend to those very high levels, that you have to do it alone sometimes. I don't say that you should do it alone all the time, but sometimes you got to do it alone. And that's just the way that it is, man. And like I said, life is not going to be all peaches and cream. It's not going to be all roses. But I do say this, and I honestly mean this. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And I've done that for the most part, and it's left me with no friends. I treat people how I want to be treated. I leave them alone. And I think that's a good way to end this video, guys. Hey, if you don't have any friends, look in the mirror. Is this really you? Because this is really who I am. If you know me, this is really who I am. And I'm not saying it's good, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's Jackson S. Cooper. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I enjoyed talking to you guys, man. We just out here chilling, living life. I'm breathing. I'm blessed. But until next time, always remember, stay fresh and stay blessed. Peace.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those odds. Got up and I beat those odds. That's understood. It was always me.